I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince.
And it's time once again
to recommend things.
Hey Vince, what do you recommend today?
I'm recommending The Great Dictator, a movie that came out in 1940.
Wow, is that the oldest thing you've ever recommended?
Maybe. Well,
I wonder.
I think I've recommended some Robert E. Howard, which would have come out, stuff in 1930s. The book, of course, didn't come out in 1930. It came out more recently.
Yeah, of course, but the actual writings, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think I recommended that.
And that was recent.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
This came out in 1940. Charlie Chaplin, for those of you who are like, isn't he the silent picture guy? Yes, he is, but he's also known for being able to stand the test of time and make the leap over to sound pictures. I mean, that's the thing, is that there are some actors that couldn't make the leap, which is weird to me. Because,
many of them.
Yeah, that's in my head. I'm like, why? Why? How is it that you didn't hire theater people? I guess you just hired, pretty people, I guess. Mimes. That would be weird to hear a mime talk and be like, "How you doing? I'm a mime."
Well, and
that was weird.
I don't think the differences were usually as bad as exaggerated things like a Singing in the Rain and how they portray it in that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they...
Yes! No.
I've not seen Singing in the Rain.
Oh, you should. You'd like it.
I think I would.
That's partly what the plot's about. It's the transition between silent and talkie pictures.
Yeah, I've taken history courses over that stuff, so I should know what it's about.
It's enjoyable. Yeah, you should see it. You'd like it.
But The Great Dictator is really a pretty solid movie. I mean, Charlie Chaplin plays two people in this movie. He plays a Jewish barber, and he plays effectively Hitler. But I think his name's Hinkle in this movie. And I'm going to get this closer so maybe you guys can see it. He has something different than a swastika. He has two little X's for the swastika symbol.
Weird.
And he's this weird caricature of Hitler. And I'm told Hitler...
I guess because of when it came out, they had to do it that way.
Yeah, the thing about it is that it's obvious who he's supposed to be.
Sure.
And he's trying to create a farce, so he's making some differences. And so you get to see Hinkle do things or have something to do with the leader of Bacteria, who is doing this faux Italian accent. And it's really interesting that how great of an actor he is in this. And he still does a lot of physical stuff. And but he has a terrific speech at the end. And I've seen the speech before I actually saw the movie. But I hadn't actually taken the time to watch the entire movie. I'd only seen the speech, which is... I kind of wish I hadn't seen that speech, because it was a great speech about, about freedom and liberty and people standing up for what's right. And having the rest of the movie lead up to that, it was really interesting. I mean, you get to see... of course it is farcical, and Charlie Chaplin playing one of the victimized people and the leader of the victimizers. It's a little off-putting to make the leap back and forth, but he has such a different characterization between the two that you never get confused. I mean, it's very accessible, even in today's humor standings. It's really accessible, and I don't know. I thought about trying to review this movie, but I'm like, nah. I'm not going to have enough to say positive, negative, whatever. I'm just going to be like, it was really cool. You guys should watch it. You'd like it even though it was made in 1940.
That sounds like a recommend.
Exactly. So I'm recommending this.
What I find really intriguing about that, and of course I've heard about this movie in a lot of classes and things, but just never sat down and watch it. I have, so I should totally watch that. But what I find really interesting about it is the idea of a caricature of Hitler while he's still alive.
Yeah, the thing about it is that I was in my... When I first heard about this movie in one of my film history courses, they talked about Hitler and having seen this movie.
Wow.
And they said to a lot of people's surprise, Hitler had a sense of humor. So
wow.
And
he was okay with it.
I suppose so. Granted, he had to have disagreed. I mean, he couldn't possibly have been like, they have a good point.
Yeah. So suddenly he's like, I'm going to change my entire strategy. And my whole way of life has been changed by this farcical film starring Charlie Chaplin.
Yep. But yeah, it's terrific. I'm not really going to get into the plot. It's about a Jewish barber and the leader of these of the Nazi-like people, and the persecution of the Jews. Not necessarily by way of just hatred of them, but more by way of the leader needs a scapegoat to direct attention away from the things that are kind of going wrong with the country. Like, oh, people are hungry, people are hurting for work. Well, what can we do to distract them? Well, we can, villainize the Jews, and everybody will suddenly be focused on that. Well, these guys are the problem. And so it was really interesting to me to see that it wasn't about just hate. It was about practical decisions. And that is in a way, more evil. I mean, because at least people who just straight up hate, they didn't stop to think, well, what makes them not people? I haven't really stopped to think about that. But this guy's just like, you know what? Let's just create a problem for these people just to give me some time to breathe. And it was just really cold, practical decisions for Hinkle, and it was kind of chilling, even though it's farce, and even though you laugh at everybody, the Jews, the Nazi-like guys, they're all used for comedy, and it's off-putting and really genre-bending. I really like this. I mean, one of the things we talked about in my my film history course was how Robert Altman, the guy that created MASH, he was like one of the leaders in genre bending. But we have war and comedy mixed right here in 1940.
That's really cool.
So he's not the first guy to do it. Robert Altman, that is. I'm not even sure Charlie Chaplin's the first guy to do it, but it's right here. I like it a lot.
It's so unusual in certain points in history that whenever anybody does it, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's really gutsy. And to my understanding, Charlie Chaplin was a stickler about it has to be perfect. I can't be off a little bit, which, he's releasing this during a time when it might be a little difficult for him to get it out there.
Oh, yeah.
But especially, I mean, one of the big things...
it could easily be misperceived.
Yeah, one of the big things about World War II is a lot of the movies coming out at that point that were about Nazis, they had to portray Nazis as if they were a threat. They had to portray Nazis as if they were competent, scheming people, that these people are somebody you do have to watch out for. And so portraying them as any kind of farce, portraying or downplaying their threat is something that's a little contrary to some of the movies that came out in that period of time, like the Orson Welles movie.
Are you saying that helped America vilify them?
I mean, that's the thing, is I think this movie would be hard to get out, not because of because it makes fun of people that are existing in the world and a problem, but more because the cinema that was coming out at the time was straight up geared. They were told they had to do this, production code was in effect at that point.
Right, sure.
That they had to portray the Nazis as a threat.
Right.
So since they're not a threat in that, or at least they are a threat, but they're not as frightening in that movie.
Yeah, because it's more of a joke.
Yeah, exactly. But if you watch a movie like Orson Welles' The Stranger, which I think came out in 1940-something, whatever, Orson Welles plays a Nazi who's hiding in America, and he is very, very competent. He is a guy that's kind of scary because he can perfectly just melt right into the American melting pot. Nobody even notices. So, yeah. There's movies like that existed more than movies like that. Granted, you don't know what I'm pointing at, because I have The Stranger up here, and the other one's on the side here. What do you recommend today, Cap?
Springtime for him.
Today,
I'm going to recommend something entirely different from that I don't have anything like as much to talk about, because it's not culturally relevant. Today, I'm going to talk about something else related to the tick, because it's still Tick Month, so I'm still recommending tick things. And so for the third tick thing I'm going to recommend that I'm not going to do a full review on, which will make a whole lot of sense in about 5 seconds, I'm going to recommend some 3.5-inch tick figures. There were more than these, but these are the ones I have. So I have the Tick and Arthur and Sewer Urchin. This is going to be the whole recommend, by the way. It's just, here they are. There's a Chairface Chippendale.
Oh, cool.
There's Dynamole, which I'm really surprised they made a Dynamole. He hardly even appears anywhere, but there he is. And then here is Elseed, my stepdad's favorite Tig villain, Elseed. Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's Elseed. And then here is Dean, the henchman with a screw on his head. I also have a human bullet, but I couldn't find him for this. So, but anyway, but they made several others. You know, these are all from the cartoon, and I bet that just made somebody throw up right there. No, but it's like, why are they moving? But yeah, they made Deflator Mouse, and they made an American Made, and there were actually several of these.
Midnight Bomber?
I don't think there was a Midnight Bomber. No, I'm not sure they even made a figure of him at all. But I don't know the 6 or 7 inches or whatever they are very well at all because I don't have any of them.
Oh yeah.
So I have no idea if they ever made that, but they didn't make one of these little ones for that. But anyway, they're pretty decent sculpts for being tiny 3.5 inch figures. They're not posable. They're pretty much just little statues. They're so you can't do much with them, but they kind of look cool on a shelf. And my little kid's been enjoying playing with them. So
you could put them on a cake.
You could put them on a cake? Yeah. Make a tit cake? That's a great idea. Yeah. I've been getting my kid a lot of figures at this scale because he's little and
perfect
he really
for
likes
his
them, and yeah, they're really good for his hands. And I mean, he just plays with them like crazy. He's got Batman ones, and he's got these, and he's got some Winnie the Pooh ones, and I'm thinking about getting him some Spider-Man ones and other ones like that. So anyway, but that's it. That's them. What's funny is this is another one of those things where I find myself going back, and I know that you and I are different on this, Vince, but I find myself going back sometimes and rebuying things that I used to have when I was a kid and got irritated that I got rid of. And these were something like that. I used to have several of these actually on card. I used to have them in the packages, and I had them. Yeah, and I don't know why, but at one point I sold them, and I don't remember why I did that. But when I was a kid, I got rid of them. And I regretted it later. I was like, I don't know why I got rid of these, and so I
Money
found
for child support because you were a kid, supporting yourself. Anyway,
some of your jokes just turn me into Knuckles. Like,
and then you wear yourself on your head.
And then I wear myself on my head. Anyway, but that's those, and so I recently got those again on eBay, and thought I'd share, and that's those. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching us recommend things. Vince, that was really intriguing, and I almost wish you had done a review on that because I think more people would have watched it. But
that's a good point. I still could, but I bring up a lot of the same points.
Well, that's okay. But I thought that your review inside of Recommends was very interesting. I really enjoyed watching it. So I had a ringside seat. In fact, it was really good. I'm really enjoying this. Yeah. Too bad I didn't know this was going to happen. I would have just moved the whole thing to the orange chair. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching us recommend things, and we'll recommend something for you once again next week. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince.
See you next time.